Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're looking at moving to Azure? That's awesome. But you're probably realizing you've got some pretty big strategic decisions to make. Today, we're going to dive into one of the biggest choices you'll face, the actual path you take to get your applications into the cloud.
And it really boils down to this one simple question. Are you going to prioritize raw speed, just getting everything over the line as fast as humanly possible? Or are you going to take a more thoughtful approach and aim for efficiency and optimization right from day one?
I want you to think of it like this. You're standing at a fork in the road on your cloud journey, and the path you choose here, it's not just some minor technical detail. Nope, it's a huge strategic decision that's going to define your costs, your team's workload, and your ability to innovate for years to come. So let's explore that first path, shall we? This is the one that promises the absolute quickest route. We're talking about rehosting, what I like to call the express lane to the cloud.
Okay, so what is rehosting? Well, you've probably heard it called lift and shift, and that name is perfect. It's all about taking what you already have running in your data center and just picking it up and dropping it into the cloud with as few changes as possible.
Let's break down what this actually looks like. A classic example is just moving an app from a virtual machine on-prem directly to an Azure VM. The number one goal here is speed. That's it. Your architecture, your code, it all pretty much stays the same, which, to be fair, keeps the initial risk really low. The analogy here is perfect. It's like moving into a new house by just throwing all your packed boxes inside. Yeah, you're in the new house, and it was fast, but you're not organized at all, and you're still doing things the exact same old way. All right, now for our second option. This one builds a completely different kind of future for your app, replatforming. Think of this as the scenic route. Yeah, it might take a little bit longer, but you're actually improving things and enjoying the view along the way. This is where things get a little more interesting. Replatforming, or lift and reshape, means you're still moving the application, but you're making some smart, key optimizations while you do it. You're not rewriting the whole thing from scratch, not at all, but you are changing a few components to really take advantage of what the cloud can do.
So here, the goal totally shifts from speed to optimization. For instance, instead of just moving a VM, you might move the application itself to Azure App Service and your database to a managed service like Azure SQL. All of a sudden, your team's day-to-day job changes. They stop spending hours patching operating systems, and they can start focusing on what really matters, building new features. This is like finally unpacking those boxes, organizing your new house, and making it a way more efficient and enjoyable place to live. Okay, so we've seen the two paths. Now let's do the fun part. Let's put them side by side and see how they really stack up when you look at the things that matter: speed, cost, and your potential for the future. And here it is, the core trade-off, laid out plain and simple. Rehosting is super fast and takes low upfront effort. But look at the long term. Your ongoing management stays high, and your potential to be truly cloud-native is low. Replatforming, on the other hand, it asks for more work up front, but man, it pays off with lower management costs, and it flings the door wide open to a modern, cloud-native architecture. I mean, look at this. When it comes to just raw migration speed, there is a clear, undisputed winner. If your main goal is hitting a deadline like you have to get out of a data center fast, rehosting will get you across that finish line first. No doubt about it. But then, the tables completely turn. Over the long haul, that initial speed from rehosting comes back to bite you with a much higher management burden. With replatforming, all that smart upfront work you did to move to managed services, it dramatically cuts down on the time your teams have to spend on tedious stuff like patching, scaling, and just maintaining infrastructure. At the end of the day, it's the classic pay now or pay later scenario. Rehosting saves you time now, but costs you way more in operational headaches later. Replatforming is an investment now that pays off big time in lower costs and way more agility down the road. So, knowing all that, how do you actually make the right call for your application? And, maybe even more important, how do you avoid falling into a really common, really costly trap? So when should you pick each one? Well, rehosting is your go-to for those urgent deadlines, like a data center lease that's about to end, or for those old black box apps you can't really change. On the flip side, replatforming is the strategic move for your most important applications. The ones where cutting down on manual work and paving the way for the future is your absolute top priority. And this brings us to the biggest risk of all, the rehosting trap. So many organizations lift and shift their apps with the best intentions of modernizing them later, but you know what? Later often never comes. And they end up just running their old architecture in what is basically a more expensive data center, completely missing out on all the agility, scalability, and innovation the cloud was supposed to give them. So the crucial takeaway is this.
Getting to the cloud is just the first step. The real goal is to thrive there. So whether you start with rehosting or replatforming, the ultimate question you have to keep asking yourself is, what's my plan to not just exist in the cloud, but to truly, and I mean truly, take advantage of it?